Hello there, everybody, and thanks for joining us today. I'm here with Chris Meyerschen. He's the inventor of the XOOT system. Now, I have a couple of other videos that I created where I reviewed the XOOT system, so I'm not going to cover every single detail of that today. We're just kind of focusing on what's new, but if you're interested in that, you can check out those videos, and I go over how it actually works and all the different angles that it can be at, how it compares to the Wacom stand and the Ergotron as well.
So rotating's the new feature that I'd like to demonstrate right here. That's something that XOOT hasn't had before. As a matter of fact, this particular prototype was assembled this weekend. So yeah, it's the grand premiere of rotation.
Nice. Rotation's a cool feature. I got a chance to try it out and draw a pizza.
Yeah.
And it's really nice and fluid. You can actually go through and fine tune the rotation to add more or less friction, and you can get a nice range of motion from vertical to horizontal, so I really like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, rotation turned out to be a real challenge. So for the XOOT system, one thing that's a little different is that we have to really maximize the space under the screen, because one of our big claims is that it'll rotate over here and leave space for the mouse and keyboard, such that it doesn't interfere with any of that on top. So when it comes down to a low angle at desk level, we have to really make that rotation feature thin. And by making the rotation feature thin, you have lots of space underneath here.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that was one of the big mechanical difficulties of it. And one feature that kind of sets us apart is you're able to tune the friction of rotation, such that it has a little screw that you can turn, and that'll allow you to adjust rotation to your preference. So if you want it to spin really easy, that's available to you. And if you want a little more friction or almost lock it in place, that's also available.
And it has that nice braking system. Once you rotate it, it stays kind of locked at the angle that you put it at. So how about the build quality on this thing?
Yeah, it's heavy duty. Now we're aiming for professional quality, and the way I look at professional is that your livelihood depends on it working. Which means that you should expect it to work, almost 100% of the time. I can't guarantee 100% of the time, but it should not interfere with your work at any time. You shouldn't have to be worrying about, is it up to the task? Yeah, we're building it to be up to the task.
There's lots of nice solid steel in there, and it needs to be heavy duty to be able to support your Cintiq and all the different components. So if you're wondering about the build quality on this, I've tested it myself in my own office, and it's a very well thought through product. This guy knows what he's doing. He's an inventor. It's not like some of the MacGyvered stuff that I've seen where people mount a couple of acrylic things to the back of their tablet and call it good. Like, this thing is going to hold up.
This is I'd say the 4th generation prototype. So yeah, some of our earlier prototypes, every time we go through a generation of prototypes, we address the things that weren't optimal with the last prototype. And at this point, we're real confident that this is a releasable product as it is right now. We've done a lot of work into making the screen as stable as possible, but giving it the ability to really improve workflow. The intent that we were trying to solve was to make the screen extremely easy to move, because every monitor arm or system that I've tried at this point, it was never a real joy to use. You would have to try and really put a lot of work into moving a screen. So most of my time being an engineer, I'm up in this. It's mouse and keyboard mode. But I have to mark up a lot of drawings and these type of things. So if I can just flip it down real quick, do my markups and everything like that, and then flip it up with that, that was for me what I was trying to solve. To kind of personalize an invention, that's how it drove me to a better solution. And then once I had the solution that I wanted, it's like, well, I think this is useful to a lot of other fields and people. And so far I've been getting a great feedback on that.
Yeah, it's great for digital art. You can go between all those different modes, drawing vertically, drawing in your lap, and it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. You don't have to fight with your tablet to get it into place. And especially with this rotation feature, it was buttery smooth just to rotate it, and you can even rotate the device, keep your pen still, and use it kind of like a compass to draw a circle. So I just think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so crowdfunding is going on right now, correct?
Yes, crowdfunding is going on right now. So up until January 7th, 2020. So your opportunity to purchase a XOOT system is available. If we make it to retail, the projected retail price is $803. The oddball 3 is to add the rotation feature. We tried to keep the price as low as we could, but we basically have, a threshold that if we can't make enough money to stay in business, there's no point in going into business. So we're cutting our margins as low as we can on that, and that's where the extra $3 comes from. That's kind of our lowest limit, as it is right there for normal business operating. But for crowdfunding, it's okay to live with a little bit of a loss, so we've dropped it down to $700.
And this is connected to the Cintiq 32 for those of you who don't know, but it's also compatible with the Cintiq Pro 24 and the Dell Canvas 27.
Yep. And the Cintiq 27 also.
And the Cintiq 27 QHD.
Yeah,
That's
QHD.
the one that I have. So.
Yeah. We're hoping that this is a device that'll enable you to be more efficient with your workflow. And to be more ergonomic. So if you continually draw in the same location using the same muscle systems all the time, you have a tendency to burn yourself out and, expose yourself to injuries like carpal tunnel syndrome, those type things. Yeah. But if you can kind of move the screen around and change your positions more frequently, that allows you to use different muscle groups, different focus on what you're doing, and hopefully reduce the probability of injury.
And it definitely feels a lot different when you're used to just staying in one position all the time. I think people get comfortable doing that, and hand starts to cramp up, your back starts to cramp up. If you have something that fluidly can move between these different positions, you're not going to have an excuse not to do it. Anybody can go like that, touch a touch strip and move the screen, and the screen does a lot of the work for you in a sense because it's weighted in such a way to where it very easily moves forward and backward and changes angles. So you don't have to put a whole lot of muscle into it, unlike some of the other stands that are out there.
So that's kind of the focus is that a good, comfortable drawing position is just, a slight tilt away. To really be able to move it simply and easily, that's what we're trying to make, that we don't feel is properly represented on the market right now.
And we're making it look easy. I mean, he's moving it around, but this is pretty rigid at this position here, and all you need to do is just touch the touch strip and it stays locked where it's at. So you can very easily just kind of fine tune it to any position you want, and that's nice.
Yeah. And the other thing is that, unlike another arm system, if you have an infinitely adjustable arm, it tends to be great and that there's an infinite amount of positions, but it slows you down. So if you have your favorite go-to position for one type of action, it makes it really easy to go back to that exact same screen position. You don't have kind of an uncontrollable arm behind you that makes it difficult to get to that exact position again.
Yeah, the Ergotron arm is kind of like parallel parking. You have to, those are all these different maneuvers that you have to go through to get it where you want it. And
sure.
I have one. I can put it in a number of positions. I can rotate it, but I don't because I want it to be exactly where it was when I left it. Oftentimes I'm recording over my shoulder, or I want to sit down on my desk and have it be just like it was the day before. And so I tend to not move it much, but this thing, when I had a chance to use it in my office, it made my workflow a lot smoother because I had those different modes, and I was like, you know what? I can actually use touch mode now, or I can, have it go into my lap, and it doesn't have to be this static way of working.
Yeah, and my experience also started with the Ergotron arm. In no way do I want to knock Ergotron. They make an absolutely quality product, and it does things clearly that my system can't. This is the solution that I was looking for. I'm just hoping that other people are looking for it too.
When I did my review, I tried to compare the other devices that are similar, but it wasn't this one's better, because it's all subjective, This is an option, and there's other options out there. This can do a lot of what the other options can't do, and vice versa. And so, each one is going to have its pros and cons. But who is this for specifically?
This is for professional quality. It's aimed at people who are actually using the screen for a living. You're drawing your living from basically drawing on the screen. And that's where professional quality comes in. We're building it such that it can be used 24/7, 365, and make sure that you can expect it to work all the time for you. One of the features with with rotation is we looked at other rotation mechanisms and they have a tendency to wear out. So with our rotation mechanism, we put kind of a wedge donut system in there, such that when parts wear out, you can just tighten it up, get rid of the slack, and then it doesn't interrupt it. It really extends the life of the rotation mechanism, where you won't have to worry about it getting wobble after time or having a different amount of friction. That's something that's tunable and will be, well, I guess we haven't done any wear testing on it yet, but it's assumed that it'll last many years.
Mm-hmm. That's good, because Cintiqs are known to last quite a while. So, you don't want the stand to wear out before the device wears out.
Yeah, likewise, if Wacom does come out with their newest, latest, greatest, we'll make sure to make a kit for that. So you'll be able to take your Zoot arm and upgrade it to the next screen. Cool. That'll mean that you'll have to change out a few parts on the system. We're also looking at creating a service where you can send your Zoot back into us, and we'll upgrade the parts for you and send it out back to you, depending on how mechanically inclined you feel you are.
So that stand could last, several generations of tablets. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the goal. So we're trying to make something that's not out there right now, and we're real hopeful that we're appealing to some artists out there that have this type of problem, that have been looking for a little bit better solution to what they have right now. And we feel that it's a professional quality device with superior performance to other ARM systems. If you're looking for a unique solution, the XOOT system is designed for that.
Well, thanks for sharing the XOOT system with us. I have a playlist with this video in it and a couple of other videos, as I mentioned earlier, where I reviewed this in more detail from top to bottom. So definitely check those out if you're interested.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming over to check out the XOOT system and see marvelous XOOT Central.
Yeah, XOOT Central. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.